ASIPS is implemented by DT Global and supported by DFAT. Both have good policies and guidelines that ASIPS implements and adopts for the context in Solomon Islands. The DFAT umbrella policy is the Environment and Social Safeguards Policy. The specific topics in the Environment and Social Safeguards Policy are 1. Environmental protection. 2. Children, vulnerable and disadvantaged groups. For example, children, women, elderly, and people with disabilities. 3. Displacement of people. 4. Indigenous peoples. 5. Health and safety. In this video, we will focus on the topic of children, vulnerable and disadvantaged groups, and specifically on protecting children and prevention of sexual exploitation, abuse, and harassment. First things first, we have zero tolerance for abuse, harassment, and exploitation. This includes zero tolerance for sexual abuse, harassment, and exploitation. We also have zero tolerance for inaction. That means that we expect you to inform us about any suspicions of safeguards non-compliance. We expect you to treat everyone with respect and dignity. For interactions, we have very specific do's and don'ts. Please check out the professional behavior guidelines in our policies. But in a nutshell, respectful treatment. Treat children with respect, avoiding inappropriate language and behavior. Supervision. Always ensure another adult is present when working near children. Never be alone with a child. Sexual conduct. Any sexual activity with children under 18 is forbidden, including paying for sexual services with children. Let us know. Immediately let us know when you have concerns, allegations, or policy non-compliance using appropriate procedures. Be mindful of your actions and avoid doing anything that others might see as exploiting or abusing children. Now, let's look a bit closer at risk factors at child protection and PSEAH. To understand if there are risks to children and disadvantaged or vulnerable people, we look at: where do we meet them? In an isolated place? In a closed room? How do we meet them? Alone? With others? Without supervision? All in a big group? In the evening or during office hours? With a lot of difference in power? Or as equals? What do we do? Is there any physical contact needed? Or do we train people in a life-changing skill? Or just a meeting? All these things together determine how much opportunity there is for harm. Someone who is from a different country or area, with a lot of perceived power because they are a teacher or consultant, or someone with a big car and big logo, meeting one-on-one with vulnerable people or children will have a bigger chance or opportunity to do harm. We, ASIPS, and its subcontractors hold a position of power. And as Spider-Man said,
"With great power comes great responsibility."
We need to be aware of how people perceive us in our professional roles. People might agree to do things they don't want to do. For instance, as part of our GEDSI strategy, we want to include women, disabled people, and other excluded groups in community meetings and participatory processes. This is essential to get their voice heard. However, we need to make sure that they can safely join and participate. We need to prepare them to ensure they feel safe and are equipped to speak out, and we need to prepare ourselves to ensure the venue, presentations, and materials are accessible and safe. Also, people with disabilities, children, or women have a higher chance of being abused. Why? Often they are perceived as powerless, have no access to reporting mechanisms, and if they report, who would believe them? Remember, all projects have the potential to harm people. Harm and abuse can happen by staff or people contracted by the organization. It is everyone's responsibility to safeguard and to prevent. Let us know about issues and respond to harm that occurs to the environment, children, and vulnerable people. Everyone should be aware of how to report and what to report. If you have safeguards concerns, you can reach out to your line manager or the safeguards specialist in your activity, or to ASIPS at safeguards@asips.com.sb. And remember, all information we receive will be confidential and victim or survivor focused. That means that the victim survivor is always in the lead. He or she will be in charge of where and how we report. If you want to know more about this, contact the ASIPS Safeguard Specialist, ann.whites at asips.com.sb. Stay safe, be safe, and create a safe work environment.